Hello, this is Ricky Caudell again, and I'm doing this post for anybody who is an amateur writer and they have aspirations to become a published author. Uh, I myself am an amateur writer. I have several book ideas, and I have just purchased because I've decided to try to take the step to become published. I have just purchased a book called The Writer's Market. I would strongly suggest anybody who is an amateur writer get this book. I'm kind of broke, so I got the used version. It cost me like $17. Um, so I read through this book, and it gives you suggestions on how to become a published writer. It tells you how to write up your cover letter, write up your outline, your synopsis of how the book's going to go, how to build your brand so that when you go to a publisher, they can see, this guy's got a following, even if it's not for writing, maybe YouTube, Facebook, whatever, and they're more likely to take you on and give you a contract. And it also tells you what to expect from your first deal, and that you need 3 chapters. You need 3 completed chapters in order to send it in with your cover letter, your synopsis, and the whole, hey, my name is such and such. Here's my 3 chapters of my book. Now, they do say in this book specifically that it's not beyond imagination for a new writer to get a 6-figure contract. And that's a lot of money. I don't know about you, but to me, that's a lot of money. So I'm going to talk to you today about their building their brand ideals, right? So building your brand is basically getting a following, getting out there to the people of the world who you are, what your ideals are. Without, you don't want to give up your book ideals. It's very easy for somebody to steal them. So who you are, what your ideals toward the world are, whether it's politics or football, sports of any kind, ghost hunting, which I just did a post about earlier yesterday. I mean, whatever you want to get out there, cars, whatever your hobbies are, playing video games, just get a following. Get a following. That way, when you present your book ideal with the cover letter, with the outline, you in your cover letter, you can mention, I had this many followers on YouTube, I had this many followers on Facebook. The publisher are going to take it into consideration. Now, your following will also help you get an agent. So, if you're not confident in your ability to negotiate a contract, get the best deal possible. If you have a big following, before you even present your ideal to publishing companies, you can hire an agent. They basically take over that aspect of your career. They will reach out to the publishing companies that are interested in your type of book, and they'll negotiate with them on how much you should get paid for that book and what a future contract may look like, whether you get any advances or any of that. So building your brand is extremely important, especially nowadays. Ebooks, along with paperback books, hardcover books. Getting your book ideal out there is the big. Self-publishing is a good ideal, but not everybody has the money to publish 10,000 copies of their book. And to do that, because writing's a job. Writing's a job. You have to sit down and say, okay, this is how much time I'm going to dedicate to my dreamed of profession each day. Take days off. And take into account that every now and again you're going to get writer's block. You have to have a basic ideal of your protagonist, your antagonist, the plot line, where your book begins, how to build it up to the climax, how to come down to the ending. You have to decide before you lay the pen to the paper the first time, is this going to be a series? Is this a standalone? Now, just because you write a standalone don't mean you can't write another book about those same characters later on. Just you decided at first that it was a standalone. It's harder to write a book that's you're considering as a series as your first book, because that really manipulates where your flow goes as you're writing. So be careful. Just write the book. The book will take on a life of itself. Don't let your ideals be set in concrete, because you could be writing and decide that during this chapter, the heroine doesn't want to have nothing to do with the protagonist, the hero. She's going to go off on her own because he says something that made her mad. And understand that your book, it has to be written in first person, right? Nobody wants to read a book that's written in third person or past tense, right? I was thinking about doing this. I was thinking about doing that. No. You have to specifically say, as your hero, as the antagonist, as the heroine, as the other lesser characters, I think I should do this. I think that if I do this, it'll help this person. I had to thrust the knife. I thrust the knife into his chest several times because he was choking me out. It has to be because eyes draw people in, man. It gets them involved in the book. They're no longer reading the book. They're experiencing what's going on. So use first person, man. Third person doesn't work. Past tense doesn't work. Trust me, I've tried. I've written books and then went back and read them. And because I was writing, I was not involved. When the hero says I was, then, or I did, then you're reading about something that already happened, and that's not going to draw people in. You want to draw people in with it. It's going on right now. This is going on right now. So what you're seeing in your mind is happening right at this moment, and the only way to do that is first person. Present tense. This is happening now. So I write fantasy, sci-fi, adventure fiction. I'm not really good at the damsel in distress. The women in my life have always been strong and super independent. They just are, man. My mom was as tough as any guy I've ever met in my entire life. So I can't write my female characters as, oh, woe is me. Won't somebody please come save me from this horrible situation? I just can't do it. I don't understand. I honestly don't believe that there's any women like that in the world today. There may be. I guess it's very possible. It's according to what culture you come from. But I respect strong women. And I want women who read my stories, my books, to feel like it's okay to be a strong female. It's okay to be a heroine. It's okay to take care of your business on your own. Be very careful about writing books that are slipping into pornographic realm, right? Now, I've read Laura K. Hamilton. I think she's a great author. I love her books. There's so much action, so much going on. But she writes a lot of, pretty hardcore sex scenes in them. So, I think she's a great author. But I don't want people to read my books just for some pornographic fantasy. I want them to read my books so that they can be part of the fantasy that I've created. The heroes, the monsters, the succeed against all odds. I want to raise people up. Now, I'm not saying Laura K. Hamilton brings people down, but let's admit it, man. In this day and age, porno is a major addiction for a lot of people. Not just men, women, kids, everybody. Porno is rough. So I want to write a clean book, right? I want there to be romance. But just because you have romance don't mean you have to have a lot of graphic, detailed descriptions of what goes on past the initial kisses. That's just me personally. So, do what you feel like doing. Being an author, you can make a lot of money. Just look at Stephen King. A lot of money. J.K. Rowling with the Harry Potter books, a billionaire. So, but it is a job. right? You have to dedicate a certain amount of time from at least 4 or 5 days of the week that this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to close the door, and I'm going to get to work. Don't forget to take notes. Whenever you get an idea, write it down. Put it on your hard drive. Save it, stick it away somewhere. Even if you don't use it in this book, you might use it in another book, man. So the creative juices have got to flow, man. You can't just, all right, what do I need them to do right now? And then you're going to lock up. So when you get an idea of where you might like the storyline to go, the plot line to go, write it down, man. Save it, put it somewhere. Put it in your computer, put it somewhere, put it in your laptop so you can go back and look at it and say, oh man, this is a good time to bring this in. Don't forget there has to be plot twists, right? I mean, the hero can't win every single fight. If they do, or heroine, if they do, it's pretty much they know the end, right? You want to hold them in suspense all the way up until the last few pages. So throw in a couple twists, man. The bad guy's got to win a couple times too. And remember that the bad guy doesn't think he's a bad guy. He thinks he's doing the right thing. He thinks what he's doing is the best for everybody. Even though any sane person would look at it and go, man, what are you talking about? You can't kill all these people and it's the best for everybody. Bad guys don't think they're bad guys. In their heads, they're the saviors. They're the heroes of the world. So when you write chapters where the antagonist is the main focus of the chapter, when you're in his head or when he's speaking to his minions or the people around him, he's not, whoa, I'm the evil one. I'm going to destroy. Although there are bad guys who want to destroy everything. Remember that there are no absolutely set rules in writing, especially fiction of any kind. Documentaries, histories, that's a totally different story. Try to keep everybody as close to being human as possible. And good people do bad things and bad people do good things. It's just, that's the way the world is, right? And you want to pull in as many people as you can. The more people you pull in, the better off your future is going to look. So get the writer's market. You can get a used edition. Like I got it off Thrift Books for a little over $17, and it got to my house in like 2-3 weeks. So get you an edition of the writer's market. It'll help, man. Right? It's also got in there grants that people or companies will give you if you're a writer trying to do that as your sole form of monetary gain. It's got contests you can enter for short stories, magazines that you can send out to. Because if you get a couple of magazine articles published, you're not only going to get paid for it, but now you're no longer an amateur writer. You're a published author, right? Win a few contests. That always looks good in the cover letter. Hey, I entered this contest and I won it on this date, second, third prize. It doesn't matter. There's thousands and thousands of people who enter these contests, man. And if you get second or third place, that is awesome. That means you got talent, man. You got to dedicate yourself, right? Believe it or not, the fun part of being a writer is that reading is research. Read the kind of books that you want to write, right? Look into the minds and the styles of the people that you respect and copy them. I mean, don't copy them word for word. That's plagiarism. You're going to get in trouble. But like, oh, wow, he's got a really great idea here, man. Is there some way I can use something like that in my book? Nothing wrong with that, man. You can actually give them credit for it when you start doing interviews and book tours and all that stuff. Man, this is not an impossible dream, right? If you can read and write, and if you have an imagination, you could become a published author. Dedicate yourself to it. Set apart a certain amount of time, 4 or 5 days a week to write. But write. Even if it's only 2 or 3 paragraphs. Write something on those days, man. You got to get down. You got to get busy. You got to get it done. That's all I have for you right now. I'm going to put out some more videos on the subject of trying to become a published writer. You take the journey with me. I'm going to have a lot of information. If you have any questions, comments, send them to me. If you like the video, please like it and subscribe. There's going to be more. I'm also going to be putting out videos on sports, and I'm going to be putting out videos on subject matter like political views and stuff like that. My own personal opinions, man. This ain't nothing that's solid. I'm wrong as many times as I'm right. Right. I'm going to put out videos on ghost hunters and demonologists, and how dangerous that world truly is. So, give me a look, and let's go on this journey together. So remember, if you enjoyed this, like it, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be putting out videos on this once or twice a week. Sports, same thing. I'm going to try to get this going. So you all have a great day. And Happy New Year. Enjoy a great. I hope you have a great New Year. And I'll see y'all soon. Bye-bye.